good evening, and welcome to the table.
Hey, y'all, hey. How y'all doing?
To everybody that's in-house and to everybody that is online in the social media space, go ahead and do what you all do on YouTube and Facebook. Share the link, YouTube, Facebook. Go ahead and like and share, tag, do all that kind of stuff. My IG fam, those that are on the app and those that are watching on the website. It is so good that we have technology to be able to reach people, and we can see the impact that instead of making excuses, we've used it as an expectation to just reach people further, faster.
Absolutely.
I had a thought today that so many people were focusing in on Sunday, and now our church has almost become a 7-day-a-week church.
I do, and I also think sometimes too, when I think about social media and us sharing the scripture that says when Jesus told his disciples, he said, greater works shall you do than I did. And you're like, well, Jesus, you heal the blind and the lame. But I think in broader scope, what he's saying was I could only meet people physically where I was.
Yeah.
But our level of reach and communication and discipleship can go all over the world.
Yeah, we can't. You can't do any greater than raising the dead and opening blinded eyes.
Right. So it couldn't have been that.
Yeah. So the fact that he said, you can do greater things, and just the fact that he took 12 people and reached and evangelized a region, and he's using a girl from Duval and a little dude from Ozark, Alabama, to impact TFC and Faith Nation. Can we just give God praise for all that he's doing?
Thank the Lord for social media.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So tonight is part 2, Lady C. Where's our music? Did we don't get theme music this week?
We should.
I normally hear my music, man. Music, please.
Theme music.
Yeah, I need some music, man, to kind of set. There it goes.
There it is.
I think it's
almost make you want to slow dance or something a little bit.
We can't do that.
I mean, we can. Just
that's
turn
not
the stream
really slow
off.
Dance. That's kind of like chill, kind of. It put me in my mood to like act up.
Does it?
Yeah.
You don't need music to act
I
up.
didn't used to do that before the music.
Baby, you don't need music to act
No,
up.
but I'm gonna be civilized tonight. I'm not gonna say much. I'm gonna sit back. I'm in the passenger seat.
Like the old people say, how you even gonna form your mouth to say that?
I'm gonna let you drive. No, trust me. Listen, tonight I'm gonna be ecclesiastical. All of my answers are gonna be biblical. They're gonna be supported by text. And I will be Dr. Vincent Campbell tonight. I will use my degrees, my education, formal training, and I will answer from there. So, First Lady Campbell, you may proceed with our direction for this evening.
So
Can we give her a hand, please?
Oh my God. So last month, if you all that were here or maybe watched online, last month we were talking about safeguards and boundaries, okay? And so many of you kind of struggled in the area of how do I create, what are safeguards for me? And we talked about safeguards being things that we put in place, whether single, dating, or married, that are kind of just fundamental truths for us as to how do we keep lines from being crossed? So for instance, safeguards for me, I don't play around in the DMs, right? So I don't have those types of issues. I don't play in them, people don't play in them for me. It's just not something that I do. It's a safeguard for my marriage. I really don't have that problem. And so also a safeguard could be, for me, communication and the way communication comes across is a big deal. So if you cross a boundary, you curse at me, we've already got a problem. Like that is a safeguard for me in my life. Some of you struggled in this area, and I talked to some of you even after this event. I think some of us were confusing safeguards with like these rules that we wanted to implement into things like, well, this is what I need. That's not really what a safeguard is. A safeguard is how do you protect yourself, not outlining what you need in a relationship. So we kind of had to balance some of that, but we said that this month we will be talking about what do we do when those safeguards have been breached.
Yeah.
And then we would cross over and begin talking about boundaries.
Yeah, so last month we turned the cameras off and we did a working lab in here. How many of you were challenged by that last month? How many of you still challenged by that? Okay, how many of y'all had some conversations about it? Y'all had some conversations about it? Okay, very, very good. So let me see, I don't see any black eyes. It seems that everybody made it out okay. Everybody made it okay. Okay, so again, can you set up the line, Lady C, about the safeguard? A safeguard, what is the design? What is the purpose of the safeguard?
So the purpose of a safeguard is for you to know when you are unsafe.
Right.
So it's just those key things that may not even necessarily, I don't want to use the word triggers because that can do a whole lot of things, but it's certain things that you have just outlined. A person that lies, if you can identify early on that lying is a problem for me. And so as a safeguard, if you lie to me, seriously, it is a serious situation. If you tell me a lie, it's more challenging to overcome if you tell me a lie. You see what I'm saying? So these are just things that I know up front are problems. And when you cross those things, you lie to me, you curse at me, you put your hands on me, then now we got a breach and it's a problem. That's different from I just need to know they care, or that's different. It's not a safeguard. Safeguards are clear things that I know that just make me unsafe. And they are designed to keep me safe and to know when I am in trouble so I can adapt.
Right. And so, we went through the exercise last week to where helping people define what a safeguard is for them. And if you don't have safeguards, that's fine. You can go back, check that out. It'll give you some understanding. But then tonight, you could say, hey, I have all these things in place and I'm working through a relationship. I say that whether you're dating or whether you're married, relationships is like ministry. They're brutal. There can be some brutal parts of it, and there can be some beautiful parts of it, but you have to combine those all together. I don't think that every relationship has to be in a struggle mode, always stressed, always not connecting, always blowing up. You're gonna have some misunderstandings no matter how much you love each other, no matter how much of the Holy Spirit you have. You have two imperfect people that are trying to come together to make something work. You would think that once you become a certain age, or once you have kids, or once you're an empty nester, or once you make a certain amount of money, or once you move, or once you do this, or once you get your degree, that you all will see eye to eye. Things can get better and you can get more in sync, but it doesn't take much. Again, you're dealing with two imperfect people that are changing differently, that have different outlooks, that have different aspects of life. And so sometimes, even though when you know what the safeguard is, listen to me, and it's not your intent to breach the safeguard, you can have a moment, what we call an intense fellowship. You have your intense fellowship, but everybody gets a dumb day. Yeah. Make sense? Everybody gets a dumb day. You don't get no dumb week. You get a dumb day. Like just some days, I'm walking through whatever I'm walking through, going through it, and she'll just kind of know he's just acting dumb today. Like that's just, I ain't even fixing to even go with you with that, and then I'll come back, a little bit later and be like, hey babe, I really shouldn't have been that gripey with you or whatever, snappy or whatever like that. She'll have her moment, and she don't come back because women are wired differently. They don't apologize. And so my heart is bruised tonight. So I just want to say, first, give an honor to God, who's the head of my life. She comes back.
This is the person that said he was going to be what tonight?
I'm in the Bible. I'm in the Bible.
So you're going to be long.
So here we go. Oh, ye of little faith. I only did that to test you, to see if you believed in me. So here we go. What do you do when a safeguard has been breached? Do you throw away the relationship? Do you not continue dating? Do you find somebody else's husband? Do you get rid of your wife? Do you downgrade and trade in for a younger model?
All of that is funny.
I saw a billboard today and I didn't see the whole part of it. I was in a curve and it was like, are you tired of your main chick? And I was like, ooh, I got to get around the curve. See, what was talking about, it was like, you want a side chick. I was like, Jesus, we getting there. And it was a crystals. It was for crystals. It's for crystals. I'm serious. I was like, are we going real? I thought it was like an escort service. Like,
really?
you know, yeah, I did. Yeah, I thought it was like, you know, if you tired of your main chick, like text 411, I'm sick of this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so safeguards are real. Say safeguards are real.
Safeguards are real.
Come on, everybody, you came, let's participate. Say safeguards are real.
Safeguards are real.
How do we maturely and then in a Christ-like way deal with a breach of security? Because one of the rules we put in 19 rules for a successful marriage is about security, and security for other people means different things, right? Just like your safeguards can be different things. But I think there's some universal ways that we can wrap ourselves around of how we can establish a breach and communicate and still be healthy and whole. Watch this, whether you continue the relationship or not. Because the challenge is, if you don't know how to repair a breach in you, then you'll go through the rest of your relationships broken. And the last thing that you want to do is be in a relationship broken and making somebody else try to patch a breach that somebody else broke.
Amen.
Okay.
That's the worst.
So what you got? Let's go.
So I think the way that we have to, or one way that you can repair a breach is with boundaries. Now let me say this first before we get all into the boundary conversation. I think a lot of times in Christendom, in this life of the believer, certain scriptures trip us up. And in many cases, I feel like these scriptures, when in proper context, they are amazing. But when used without context and used by people that use it for controlling means, we stay in situations and take on a lot of stuff that we don't necessarily have to. Let me give you an example. Turn the other cheek. Okay, so we just think you slap me on one cheek, then I'm just supposed to turn the other cheek and give you the other one to slap, because
how many of y'all not gonna do that? How many of y'all not gonna do that? I'm not doing that. I love Jesus and everything.
And it's figurative, right?
Yeah.
What greater love than a man, lay down his life for his friend? And so who doesn't want to be like Jesus? I want to be like Jesus. And so sometimes I'm going to lay down my life for the sake of another person, but that's to my detriment.
But that's a problem when you're supposed to be walking together, not being trampled on.
Right. Or we hear, treat your neighbor as yourself. How would you want to be treated? And in many cases,
with the fence, stay off my grass.
Yeah, we hear these things, right, in the body of Christ, and we hear them and we want to be like Jesus. And what would Jesus do? And how can I make my life look like his? And so when we are mistreated, or when we are mishandled, we've been told, go in your prayer closet and tell Jesus about it.
And then the other one that really gets you is that how many times when they said, should you forgive? And Jesus told them 70
really
times 7. So you think that, okay, I'm in a relationship with said person. They absolutely have a character flaw. This is an issue. Their character flaw matches my safeguard, and they keep conflicting their character flaw with my safeguard. Now we have this breach. So is it right for me as a Christian, a believer, person I love, care about, dating or married, that I can't put up a boundary because I need to forgive? Does that make sense? It's how we think, but that's not what God means. I can forgive you, but I don't have to keep the same parameters in place for you to continuously do it to me over and over and over and over.
Absolutely.
So putting a boundary, a well-communicated boundary that both parties understand, whether you agree or not, and here's what we can say: you can't determine what the boundary is if you are the breacher.
You cannot.
I don't think you. I think you're being too stiff. No, you breach the safeguard. This is the boundary. This is how we're going to navigate if we're going to move together in relationship. Because one of the things I believe that happens in churches is that God is thrown in the middle of what our character should be leading first.
Yeah, that's good.
God is thrown in the middle of what our character should be leading first. So I'm a jerk. I treat you bad, and I want you to forgive me again and again and again. I need to get my character together so you don't have to keep forgiving me for the same thing. Does that make sense?
I agree.
Okay, let's go, ladies.
I agree. So some of the things that we think, the more that we do for people, the more Christian we are. Sometimes that'll trip us up. So, if I keep taking it, being meek and lowly, humble, all the things, I'm more Christian. If I know about a need, then it's my responsibility to try and meet that need, and then therefore we get taken advantage of, misused, mistreated. That's not necessarily the case. And then here's another one. If somebody hurts me or wrongs me, takes advantage of me or mistreats me, that I should not express that is how I feel. Like expressing it will some kind of way take away my Christian banner or something, or knock me down on the totem pole. And I think it's just the opposite. I do believe that Jesus wants us to lovingly express and be honest about our relationships. Jesus said, well, the Bible's written, God says, when we were yet sinners, Christ died. So what he's doing is he's giving us a really honest truth. The truth is, while I was out here holding it down for you, you was out here sinning. And so he's honest with us. He is having a very direct conversation with us. He's not hiding it and being like, well, when Christ was being, pierced in his side, you were just off having a little. He was like, no, you was out here sinning. So I do believe that there are cases and spaces in which we have to stand up, give the God honest truth in the best loving way possible. Jesus died for us to be successful in every area of our life.
Yeah.
And I think if we don't maximize even this in relationships, we are not living in God's best.
Listen to me. This is very good. Very good. Yeah. Listen to me and lean into us on this tonight, because it could be like, this is what we're talking about tonight. Yes, because this is what makes success. So many people in church shout over stuff and they never reach success because they're waiting on God to do everything, and they're trying to pray character issues away. And they don't have a strategy, and they don't have a system. And the thing is some of the reasons that you continuously get breached because you aren't set on what a boundary really is.
Correct.
And then you don't value yourself in the right way. And then, especially if you're dating or I look at dating, you're a corporation that's coming together. If you're married, y'all don't value what you're trying to do other than just be right, pay bills, have kids, do whatever you're going to do, take a few trips. No, we're building something. We conquering the world together. So when you don't have that type of mentality, safeguards and stuff aren't that important to you, but then you wonder why you continuously get the same quality of relationship year after year. How many of you want to really increase, regardless of wherever you are? If you're single by yourself and you cool, if you're dating, if you're married, you really want your relationship to be better. Come on, where you at? Okay, those of you that are online, so really lean into this. Don't minimize this. Take your phone out, take your pen out. Let's lean into it. This is class. Let's go.
Okay, so here's something really important for us to understand. It is not unchristian to require people to treat us in healthy ways. It is not unchristian. It is totally acceptable to have an expectation that people will treat us in healthy ways. We got to know that for certain.
Yeah, you teach people how to treat you. That's how I say it. You teach people how to treat you. Everybody keep cussing at me because you're teaching them how to treat you. There's a certain, and I should have an expectation. Listen to me, please. Don't be happy that somebody is just with you. You should have an expectation when somebody's with you, they should treat you great.
That's good, babe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not unchristian to call wrong things wrong.
You judging. No. Let me help you out. Accountability is the new judgment.
It is.
If I'm saying what you are doing, see, there you go, and you looking down on me. No. We have fact, exhibit A. That's not judgment. That's proof of the statement that I'm making of what you continuously do or have done or should change. Correct. So for me to bring out things that you are doing, and then sometimes people say, you always bringing up the past. Sometimes bringing up the past sets the trend for what you're still doing in the current. So if you don't want me to bring out the past, stop acting in the past.
Correct. Absolutely.
Because it's not past to me if it's a security breach, because it's a current thing that you're doing right now that you say is the past. No, I feel just like the very first day you cussed me out. I feel like that right now.
Yeah. And that's okay. And that was my next one. It's okay to call things hurtful. It's not wrong to say that something is hurting you. And so if something is hurting you, like really hurting you, it's all right to call that out. We may have to come to an understanding of, well, why does this hurt you this way? And just because we don't agree that it shouldn't hurt you that way, once it's expressed, if there's respect in the relationship, I'm going to do my best to not hurt you. If I know that, let's just say you were chunky or something in life, and your mama used to call you like her fat boy or something,
Pudding.
but it really hurt your feelings, right?
Yeah.
Then I'm not going to pour into that or do that, even though I may think it's dumb or you need to grow up or get over it. I'm not going to do anything that may be hurtful. That is, if somebody, just something so simple, will continue to do subtle things to dishonor you, that is a huge one. Like if it's so simple, well, that's just simple. Well, if it's so simple, knock it off. You see what I'm saying? If it's so simple then, and so those are little subtle things, little subtle foxes that can come into our relationships and destroy them. Because if they're so simple, then don't do it anymore.
And chunky is not bad. It was just an
example,
illustration.
y'all. I'm just saying, like, if you were called
because you got people online and people that new here, and they be like, well, what's wrong with chunky?
No,
you know
nothing. But it was just the example of, if you were called something.
Yeah, and see, here's the thing. Dating, married, especially married people, it's easy sometimes when you're the A-manner versus the oucher. In every marital situation, one person's A-manning, one person's ouching. Like, let's say, and you blah, 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 and she like, amen, and I'm like, ouch.
So true, babe.
The reality is, if somebody keeps talking, that thing's gonna switch. I'm gonna be A-manning, she's gonna be ouching. The whole point of this is, I am not, y'all got to hear me in this one. I am not trying to be right. I am trying to be successful. And if your whole focus in your dating relationship or marital relationship is to keep a record of what they did and what they didn't do in the last time and all that. Now, let me put an asterisk right here. If they're keeping record to show you accountability of how you keep messing up, then, hey man, lady, you need to change. But I am not trying to win the I told you so war. I'm trying to keep us in the place of unity that God's blessing can be commanded upon our lives. That's so good. Boundaries and record keeping and accountability and all of the above. Most people, they do that. They get on the phone just to talk about how bad their spouse is to other people to make themselves feel better. And they still got the same problem when they leave. Embrace the safeguards, embrace the boundaries, and let's work with it.
Here's the last one before we go in and talk about boundaries. It's not unchristian to come to terms with our limited capacity to deal with things. That is not unchristian either.
Break that down, please.
We don't have this unlimited grace supply like Jesus or God. I don't have it. I understand that my grace has a limit. My compassion has a limit. My endurance has a limit. I am human. I serve one that is not human, but I am human. And so because I'm human,
Were you talking about me?
No, babe. I'm
you
just
serve
saying
one
in
that's
general.
not human?
Huh?
You serve one that's not human?
God.
Oh, I thought you was elevating me in celestialism. I thought it was a compliment, but
Thank
go
you,
ahead.
Dr. Campbell, right.
Go ahead. I thought it was a compliment. I wasn't the only one thought you were talking about me.
I'm sure you were. I'm pretty confident that you were the only one.
I wasn't the onlyest one.
You was the onlyest one. So when I understand that I have capacity, then I balance that as necessary. I dole it out as necessary. You ever seen people blow up on people? That's because you went past their capacity. And they didn't have enough before they got to the end of it to say, you're in the danger zone. Like they didn't recognize enough or respect enough that we have a limited capacity.
Yeah. And then 9 times out of 10, that blow up, it's withheld conversations. Meaning you should have already communicated your frustration or your whatever previously, and you chose to withhold it, and then you blow up And sometimes you justify it as, see, that's why I don't ever say nothing because da-da-da-da. No, you have to be able to have a conversation. Listen, man, if you can't be in a marriage or a relationship with somebody that can't handle straight talk, don't do it. Especially when you date, and if you have to have a tough conversation, do not move forward. And every time they so bruised and they in their feelings and they gotta not call you, answer your calls for 2-3 days and go get high for 4 days. Nah, man, no. You gotta be able to have a conversation. And we're talking about your breath right now.
Yes.
We're not, well, your breath. No. You didn't say nothing about my breath. We're talking about your breath right now.
Right.
That's what's on the table.
Correct.
We're talking about your Bruce Lee dragon right now. This is what we're talking about. Because see, when you don't want to grow, nobody likes to be called out. Come on, tell the truth, right? But when it's on you,
it's just
now
on you.
Let's say she did something to me 5 days in a row and I chose not to say nothing. If I do something to her today, my breath, now she calls it out, I can't go dig up 5 days. Because we're not really getting anywhere. Nobody wants to be held accountable. You just want to drag other people down with you so you don't feel that bad. No, sometimes if your relationship is going to be good, you need to feel bad.
That's good.
You need to know you dropped the ball. You need to know you're not manning up. You need to know you're not living up to the bar of a woman. You need to know that you're not pleasing God. And you need to sit in that moment and understand, you know what? I messed up. And watch this. I don't have an excuse for it. I messed up.
And if a person, especially dating, y'all, because you can avoid the house fire if you just listen, especially in dating, if a person refuses to grow in these areas, meaning the way in which they do things, don't go forward. Marriage makes them more of who they already are.
You're going to get comfortable. We done already moved in the house.
Yeah, it's a no-go. So, I mean, I'm just saying.
And let me say this, with safeguards, with boundaries, ladies, she's going to get into boundaries. Hear me well. If you don't take another note tonight, take this one. It's not your responsibility to change people.
At all.
It's not your responsibility to change people. You can put up all the boundaries and safeguards and tape, caution tape, mace. You can do whatever you want to. If a person does not desire to change, they will not change.
They will not change.
These are things to keep you safe, to keep them safe, and they're also alarms to let you know what you're absolutely working with. And the thing that you need to understand, see, I was talking on this Sunday when I was a man, a child. I spake as a child, I thought as a child, did as a child, all that kind of stuff. When I became a man, a woman, I put away childish things. One of the most childish things that I see as a pastor is people that have sucky relationships and they won't do what it takes to make it better. And they just sit back with this little pouty stuff like, the girl, she just like, you need to tell him and get him right now. I see the dude, man, I'm just saying, man, whatever, man. It's just like whatever. All the way from the very first building to this building. And I'm just like, you're so childish. You want a great relationship, but you want to act like a kid. Y'all grow up.
Yeah.
Take your whipping and grow up. Get your accountability. Stop your foolishness, because the truth of the matter is God wants your relationship to be better than you.
Absolutely. So true.
He wants it to be better than you want it to be. And because it's Christian, it should be better.
Should be better, I promise.
I'm gonna say that one more time. Because it's Christian, it should be better. Y'all don't be selling for no raggedy marriages and stop that stuff. Well, it's just her, man. I'm all in. No, you're not. No, you're not.
Right.
No, you're not.
Because that statement wouldn't have came out like that if y'all were all in. It would have been we are struggling wherever we are versus pointing out, well, it's her. So I agree.
Yeah, because, at the end of the day, babe, like, I really want you to be successful, and I really want you to support me in being successful, and I want to support you in being successful because I want us to win. I know what it feels like when we're not winning.
Yeah.
I know what it feels. And this is not about because we're for the body of Christ and we're an example to others. No, man, my food don't even taste right when we're not winning.
Yeah.
I don't sleep well when we're not winning because I take my marriage serious. Maybe we need to talk about the seriousness of relationship.
Yeah.
Like, y'all are saying until either you die or I die or Jesus comes, we're together.
That's something.
And I don't think that mentality sits in with people, and we treat our spouses, I'm talking to married people, we treat them replaceable. We treat them as they're like, something that we can just drop off at the Goodwill and get a receipt for. No, man, you want to value. And when you start esteeming your spouse, married people, when you start out serving each other. I don't care if she ain't meeting the bar right now. Do your part. Make her into the woman that you desire her to be through your service.
Yeah, that's good.
Make him the man. Well, I do everything. I wash his drawers. No, part of it might be just the way you wash the drawers. It might be the way you throw them in the drawer after you done washed them. It's the way we serve each other. I am a challenging dude to live with. I'm a challenging dude, but I'm a great man. I'm challenging now. I'm a great dude, and she serves me well. I see when she bite her tongue. I see when she want to go off and she don't. I see when she want to say something, and I know when I fed into something that she has all the right to. Vice versa. I hope she sees that. You know what? He gave me one right then. She could see what I'm trying, but it's not this thing of I'm trying to usurp my authority over her and she's trying to show me she's a strong, independent black woman. No, man. We running together and we scratching each other back, and at the end of the day, thanking God that we found each other, man.
Correct. That's what it's
And you got to have that type of mentality and passion about who you making kids with and paying bills with and owe the government taxes and stuff with, man.
Yeah.
Because I just think, and I'm sorry to go on this tangent, but I just think believers don't value what they got. And we're fooled by Instagram, and you're looking at somebody with a bigger booty and all this kind of stuff, man. Love the booty that's with you.
Yeah.
Like, for real, man. Like, you gotta look at this thing differently. We devaluing. We got God on our side. We got God with us. And you got this one person that's gonna give up all these other billions of people in the world to sacrifice and invest the rest of their life with you, and you wanna be there and not give it your all? Give it your all. Well, when she do, I will. Man, you childish.
Yeah.
That's just like saying you a bathe and she bathe. You gonna bathe? I ain't bathing either. Then you just childish, man. Get your behind in there and bathe with a rag and some soap.
Right, at least twice.
Yeah. No, and then you know how your mom used to say, that wasn't long enough, get back in there and do it again. No, relationships, sometimes you didn't do it enough. Go do it again. Be nice again.
Yeah.
I don't want to be nice, man. If she be nice, I'll be nice. I'm just going to pay these bills and that's it. Do you hear what you're saying?
And with the help of the Lord in our marriages, that type of service will cause the person to change, but you can't force the change. And that's key for us in marriage, because a lot of times we think we can change them. Single people, it looks like this. You know, we think our cootie cat different, and he just need to get a little bit and then it'll switch everything up and then he'll change. Boo, it do the same thing as everybody else is out there in the world, okay?
Your cootie cat ain't keeping no man.
Okay? It is not.
It'll keep him for the weekend, but not a lifetime.
They all do the same thing.
No, but I'm a plumber. I lay pipe.
Right.
Man, that girl ain't staying. That girl ain't staying with you. That girl ain't staying with you. She got another dude that's taking care of her emotions, and she letting you knock off, and that's about you ain't no plumber like that.
Same concept.
Ain't no plumber like that. You ain't no plumber like that.
So
ain't no plumber like that.
Therefore, you not gonna change
Quarter to
nobody.
night. You ain't no plumber like that.
So the concept is you ain't special, which means you're not gonna change anybody.
No, because if his character, if her character is not to be a wife and she just wants to be a weekend, it don't matter how you treat her. She's not. You can give her everything. You can pay bills. You can pay rent. You can be a simp. You can be whatever you want to. She is not going to marry you.
And chick, if you just want to give him some because you think that's gonna keep him in the house, that's dumb.
It's going to keep him in the house while y'all doing it.
Temporarily, and then you're going to wind up with the heartbroken when you realize that that's not what he really wanted and or needed in the first place. It was just available to him.
It's not your job to change people.
So that doesn't work.
Wait, I'll put my famous cornbread on him. I cook this corn. I got the recipe from my grandmama. That boy going to get a full stomach, sleep, and leave.
And go do what they do. So let's be clear. And the reason we say it like that, y'all, if you're a part of our church, then you know how we feel about, dating relationships and keeping it godly. But maybe somebody that is watching that didn't know that. They're thinking that that's what they need to do because they've seen generations before them do this, or they just thought that's what it takes. And it just does not.
How many of you honestly are just tired of the relational results that you keep getting. Like, we reached a place we were just tired. Okay, not everybody. Some of y'all too embarrassed. Okay. So you marry and you sit next to your spouse and you won't even raise your hand because you're like, because I don't want to argue tonight. No, if you tired of it, you're just like, you wanted to be better. It ain't saying that it's bad. I just want better. I want to get out of this cycle. I want to, man. We got 21 years this month, and there are times I'll tell her, babe, I feel like I'm falling deep in love with you, man. Like, I want to keep exploring and evolving and moving together, but that takes effort, y'all. That takes humility. That takes grind. You got to take that pride. You got to take ego. You got to take that stuff. It takes attention. It takes sacrificing when I want to be gone. It takes everything when I don't like her, when I don't want to hear her mouth. It takes all that stuff, man.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And you gotta know that, like, I don't know if y'all really, I hope y'all hearing me tonight. Stop taking your dating so casual. Stop taking your marriage as if I just go get somebody else because I'm tired of her. I just go get somebody else. I'm tired of him because the dude at my job looked at me anyway. He may have. And watch this. He may actually treat you better right now, because that's your work husband. See, as Christians, you can't even be saying stuff like that.
At all.
But the thing about it is, your work husband may treat you better. It's God. Your work husband may treat you better, but that don't mean that God is in it.
No. The grace is not on it.
You got to be careful.
So let's fall over into boundaries real quick.
All right, yeah, I'm going to let you talk because I'm fired up.
Boundary somebody into changing.
Nope.
Okay, so that's one of the things that we talked
Just
about
like
last
putting a
time.
dog in the fence because they bark and you don't want them to bark, so you put them in the fence, they're not going to bark. Nope.
Right. And so you cannot boundaries are designed once to protect yourself or set space between, right? So for instance, if you're in a friendship and you have a particular friend that you find out is constantly talking about you or something, and you share things with them, or they come over to your home and they discover things about you, and the next thing you know, you hear it in the street. Okay, so you have now identified that this person may not be the type of friend that you thought you were, and it would be of good wisdom for you to create boundaries for this person. Now, when you create certain boundaries for certain relationships, you don't have to always inform them that there's a boundary. Just suddenly, oh, chick, no, she don't get the invite to the house no more. Or if you all are speaking, it is more generic conversation or wide range, or if you do like I do, hey, what's up with you? And I just let you be the topic of the conversation all night, and therefore, and give you little to nothing. Or I give you enough that if you share it, cool, no big deal, right? So certain boundaries you may not have to always express. But in closer relationships, depending on the type of relationship that it is, again, that relational equity or the relational access. If the relational access is more, if you're dating, then you may have to say what the particular boundary is. For instance, let's just say two people are dating, it's maybe serious, and you've already expressed that we are not having sex before we get married, and they become too hands-on, a little too hands-on, not that they're trying to assault you or anything, but more hands-on, thinking that, okay, this is going to make you change your mind, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so we understand that a new boundary has to be that you can't come to my house, that we have to date outside of anybody's house, and I'm not coming to yours. So any date we have going forward, if this is going to work, because you need to understand that I said what I said, and I mean what I said, and my body is mine, and you don't touch it unless I give you permission to do so, and I did not. Now, I think we can recover from this, but here's the boundary. It does not make them change, but it protects you.
So good. So good.
So, marital boundaries could be things as subtle as a spouse may have forgotten multiple times to pay a particular bill. Exactly.
That's
maybe
what I think about that.
In your house when you were growing up, your daddy did the bills or your mama did the bills.
Or maybe in your household, credit didn't matter.
And so things being paid on time or being assessed late fees ain't that big of a deal. We got the money. Or whatever, but for you, okay, that is that throws up a flag on my safeguards, because I don't pay bills late. and I keep good credit. And so for me now, if you continue to have a problem with paying our bills or taking care of our kids or doing the necessary things, here is the boundary. We're going to do it together, or I'm going to do it.
Well, here's what oh gosh. I tell couples, you need to do bills together and have a money talk every week.
Anyway.
Because the last thing, let's say until your prosperity shows up, until your prosperity shows up, you have to be very crafty with a little bit. And so when you're the sole bill payer, you're sitting there working magic tricks with a little bit, and you got a person that's not involved in the financials, and then they're wanting to do things. Let's say I'm the one that's paying all the bills, right? She don't know that we tight. I'm not really communicating with her. She's not communicating with me. She's like, you the man, you just handle it. So I'm doing the best I can. I'm handling it. And then she want to go and get some $800 braids. And I'm like, no, we can go to Sally's. Come on, somebody. Weave is weave to a man. I mean, weave is just weave. I mean, you want weave, it's at Sally's, right? I mean, that's $32 a pack, ain't it? That's 4-5 packs. I help you braid them up. We'll clip them in. I mean, we'll do what we got to do. Same thing. You know what I'm saying? No, but to her, because she don't know that I'm working magic with the budget, well, why can't I do this? I work hard, and yes, you do. I take good care of the kids. Yes, you do. I should be able to get a hairstyle that I want, and yes, you should, but we don't have it. But if she's included, she'll know not to ask me for no $800 braids. She'll get them $350s. Because we can't afford the 8. Vice versa with the man. I work hard, I bring all the money home. Why can't I go to do what I want to do when I feel like a kid? I got to come asking you for money. Well, if you were included in the budget of the family, you would know what's happening and you wouldn't feel like a kid.
It's a financial boundary. So we know early on when Babe and I first got married, we didn't have a lot of resources. And
we had to talk about everything.
We did. We literally had to talk about every dime. And I think once we had the
$20 rule.
We had a $20 rule. And
if you spending over $20, we got to talk.
You got to let me know. And then it went to 50.
So y'all laughing.
Right? Because we just didn't have it. So we had to.
No, that was one time we got in an argument at the grocery store over $20.
Yeah.
That's all we had. She wanted ground beef. I was like, no, we're not getting that. That's one meal. We getting this chicken.
And so what in essence happens is you had two very independent, open people that were used to maneuvering how they wanted to. And so we were having accidents. And so in order to stop having these challenges, then we have to create a boundary. And that was a part of our financial boundary. Now, I don't think we have financial boundaries, but the concept is we had to build to that. And
we had to build to that. And then once we got past the needs touching kind of stuff, then we really disconnected even more once we had money. Once I took you off your job, bought you the Jag, I had my truck, all that kind of stuff, we used to just bump heads all the time. And then we had to really, what we're basically saying is, wherever there's a challenge, don't keep fighting for your stance. Figure out what the boundary is so you can navigate it. And if one person has better insight or administrative skills with your finances, just relinquish that and let them do it. But y'all need to have a financial talk every week. Even if y'all don't do nothing, sit down and say, nothing from nothing leaves nothing. At least both of y'all know y'all got nothing. But watch this. You can get in faith for something.
Correct. Together. Agree.
Because if you both of y'all sit down there, we got nothing, you got nothing, I got nothing, we ain't got nothing. You know what? That might be the bridge to make y'all say, we need to start honoring God. Okay, so y'all don't want to talk about that. Okay, go ahead, Lexi.
So a couple other things. We may have to have boundaries with our children. We may have to set boundaries in marital relationships for our kids, from the way we raise them to how you parent them.
You can't go ask your mama after I done told you no.
Right, or either, the financial decisions that have to be made, even within blended families. And then also, let's go back to...
I need to pause. This is a God moment. People with adult children, stop letting your adult child come play favorites over one. Y'all need to have a conversation about what y'all gonna do with a grown child, because what you're doing is building resentment in another parent's heart concerning their own child, because they have a way that this grown child should be acting, and you keep acting a certain way, and it's messing up their heart towards the child and you. Because any person that feels like you're going around my back or over my head, now you disrespecting me when our connection should be right here. Make sense? That's all I got. Go ahead, Lacey.
Yeah. And so Brittany says to speak on blended families. And so I really want to move, but when it comes to blended families, communication is key. But here's that's the key. Communication is key on the front end. You don't blend your family if you don't have an agreement as to what your safeguards are and things that you feel should be in a relationship. That happens on the front end before you get in a relationship. Once you get in it, you got what you got. And unless you have a person that is mature enough to be willing to change and hear differently. Okay, so we use our faith for all things, and it can be worked on, but the key is understanding and coming to an agreement about what people want. And in marriage, the marital relationship is first. Yeah. I know people go in and think about my kids. That's my baby. Well, your baby is second, technically, once you get married. Yeah. And that it is what it is, and whoever doesn't like it, take it up with God. It is what it is. And if both people on the front end are not willing to accept this and also embrace the fact that these are our children, whether they live in the home or not, and then we're going to parent, all of this has to be done. Single people.
Let me say something about blended families, please, babe. So blended families need to walk slower.
Absolutely.
You need to walk slower. Some instances is we have 2 divorcees or 1 divorcee and someone with kids that have never been married, or 2 people with children that have never been married. So those are your factors for a blended family. You need to walk a little bit slower, because when we got together, no kids, no marriages, no nothing. It was just my affection towards her. You have to walk a little bit slower, because if it's just about me and her, she got 3 and I got 4, I don't know if she loved my kids.
Because I ain't signed up for them technically.
She just wanted a man. Watch this, and some help on rent. She wanted a man, and she got a man. Okay, but what about my kids? And then what about your kids? You got to walk a little bit slower. And I believe there's a well-documented plan of how y'all need to get together. What if this marriage will be great, but y'all kids like Crips and Bloods, and now your whole family dynamic is ruined because your kids can't make it. So now do you want to be with somebody that you so attracted to because you didn't take the time to let your families be around each other at the appropriate time? You didn't give the time to really talk to them. You didn't coach them through how this was going to go. You didn't tell them how Mr. Richard, what role he was going to play in your life, whether your dad is in your life or not. This man don't want to be called Richard by no 8-year-old. At least call me Mr. Williams. I mean, but if y'all don't talk about that, see, y'all laughing. I'm saying these are the things that have to be talked about. Because blended families, y'all need to walk a little bit slower. Singles, you said, what you got?
I agree. That was heavy, but I think it's serious.
And it don't even matter if you're older.
Correct. Oh,
even if you're older. Well, my kid's grown, y'all grown. It's just me and her. No, y'all want to have harmony at Thanksgiving time and stuff like that.
You do.
You have to talk these things out. One of the things, I respect my father-in-law so much. I only called him father-in-law so y'all know who he is. That's my dad. Man, I respect dad so much. I remember when he was at the mom transition.
I was just going to talk about him.
Oh, you
go ahead.
Oh, I'll let you tell it.
From your perspective.
Okay.
Go ahead.
When mom transitioned, he was in his stage and everything of, and they was at him, dog. They was at him. They was at him.
I was finna go to jail.
No. She had a lady that was trying to marry her dad that was like younger than her.
I was finna take her down.
She was younger than her.
Just told my friend, put some money on my books, boo. Come get me, because she going down.
I'm like, you're going to have to go in the house and call her mama. No, she was like 3 years younger than her. But anyway, no. Now I respect my dad so much because he was dating, and we were on vacation at Tybee Island. He brought her to us.
He did.
He brought her to
my now mother-in-law.
No, not the little crazy one, not the little crazy one. not Ignite Ministry, not her.
Right.
He didn't bring Ignite. No, and he said, hey, this is why I plan on, man. He let us be around. Now we knew her. She knew her more than I did, but just be around her. Then these are her kids. And we had fellowship with the kids and all this kind of stuff. They grown, they successful, they're intelligent, they're Christians. But it was just this thing where everybody could merge together because it was just bigger than, well, we married and y'all grown. No, it was a family. It was a family. Blended families, I got to do something with that.
We do.
I feel like I gotta
Because I
really do
remember
something with
when
that.
mom and dad kind of started spending time with each other, I called all her kids and was like, what you think about this? Because what you're not finna do is fight me. So what we doing? Like, tell me now. Are you okay with this?
That's what she
Hung
said,
up with
too.
that one. Hey, how you feel about this? You good? Okay, cool. Because I want to know on the front end. Because if it's gonna be a problem, then let me go ahead and shield my daddy now. Because
Yeah, because you
I don't
gotta
play about that
understand.
one.
Okay, do they think you after your daddy for his money, or you after her mama for this? Or you gotta work through all this stuff, Blended Fun. Let's get to singles and we're done. We're gonna
Okay.
hit our time mark tonight. This is the last thing. Let's go.
So for singles, knowing if it's recoverable or not. Okay. So some boundaries, for me, I don't know that you should recover from them, but I just think. If
Recover
it
means, explain recover.
Recover means we're able to address it, deal with it, forgive it, and move forward and continue in the relationship, or we don't recover from it and we part ways.
Let me say this. I think that, see, one of the things life will teach you is you can't say what you will or will not do.
At all, because
I think that there are things that are recoverable in quality, not quantity, with a documented, disciplined plan of action.
that could work.
Now, you can't do something 12 times and say, well, we're still recovering. No, that's quantity. Quality meanings, okay, we have this, but there's a quality, well-documented plan that we will walk out. Now, if I'm the faulter, the one that the offender, I may have more walking to do in this plan than she. But we're walking together because she's saying I still want to be in a relationship. But we got to walk this plan. That's dating and or marriage. If we're going to continue dating and this is what's going on, this is what we're going to have to do. I ain't got to go. I'm a man. I ain't got to. Okay, well then that lets me know we cannot move forward. Now, if I'm willing to do the necessary documented things that we agree upon for the success of rebuilding the breach, then we can do that. So I don't think you can say, well, if a person does that, then you're out. And if a person does this, then you're out. Because there are some things that we've counseled that we sit back and say, it can't be nobody but God, them people together. Yeah.
So there are different types of relationships. There's some that we call turbulent, meaning you're just going through tough times. Some are taxing. They just get on your nerves, rather exhausting, rather. But then there are some things that are just toxic. And I think early on we have to be able to identify toxic traits in relationships. And those can look differently. I'm not graced for people to keep lying to me. I'm just not graced for it. Expect now, right? And even then, okay, I can maybe try to overcome it. But my thing is, why do you lie? Because maybe if I can understand why you lie, then potentially, like, are you lying because you're afraid? Are you lying because, like, did daddy always lie or something? Like, this is a habit that you learn.
It's their spiritual gift.
So I think you have to identify, but you have to know, again, for you, boundaries keep you safe, when to just call it quits. If it's something that's keeping you up at night continuously, no matter what it is, and you can't find a peace and a rest about it, and a calm and a confidence in God, it's possible that that's not the relationship for you, whatever it is. Sometimes women, I know more so women than ladies, enter relationships with people that, well, he just doesn't believe in God. And I'm like, and that's what you want to sign up for? Like, do you understand? He's supposed to be the priest, the one that covers the home and prays for you and hears from God, that gives direction, but he don't believe in something that he's supposed to be. And that's what.
We haven't seen it work yet.
Not yet.
We haven't seen it work yet.
And so if you're in it, hey, we use our faith for anything and everything, right? So we use our faith and we're going to confess it until he come in and fall over speaking in tongues. Like we just going to keep confessing it. But again, in the beginning, why do we sign up for certain things? And so we have to know when we set good boundaries, and we also have to know when it's time to say goodbye. okay? Because sometimes it is a goodbye, and the goodbye is we are just not able, I am just no longer able to be a willing participant in this relationship, and I really don't owe you a whole lot of explanation.
No.
Sometimes people trick you up because they want you to explain yourself, and then they end up being able to finagle back in there and get back in.
Especially if you got the gift of gab and you can talk them back in. And
but you got to know when
it's
it's not good and when it's not healthy.
No, just...
And it's okay.
Just mailing your notice. Leave your box. Leave your staple on your desk. Just mailing your notice. No, because I'm the type of guy, I make this thing work. It's going to be all right. I'll make you believe anything. You're going to be good. If you talk to me, it's going to work. But I just, hey, I'm here.
And that's honestly how he was.
If I didn't care, I wouldn't be here. You think I knew what you was going to talk about. I came over here face to face. I didn't want to do this over no phone. I'm here.
He didn't do me like that.
Don't that mean something? Ain't that worth something? You got to give me credit for at least being here. You're right. I'm not trying to be right. I'm trying to be real. Yeah, the devil was busy.
He was busy.
He was busy.
He was crafty too.
So, safeguards, boundaries, online. We hope y'all got something out of it.
Yes.
In here, between all of the things that we said tonight, we hope you got something out of it. We'll take one question here tonight. We'll take one question online, and then we'll go. If there's a question in here, jump to the mic, ask your question. If there's a question online, YouTube, Facebook, I'm taking the first question. And if there are no questions, we're going to go. Online has to catch up. If there's a question, just jump to the aisle, ask your question. And if not, that's it. Let's look online and see. This was great. LaShonda Dawson, very good. Good one. Cynthia Paula. What's up,
Hey,
Cynthia?
Cynthia.
How you doing? Lady C said, hey. Mia Nicole. Let's see. Do we have no questions in here? Okay, cool.
All right, awesome.
Let's see, is there one online?
Oh, here we go.
All right, what you got?
What if a man doesn't want to go to church but believes in God?
That's tough because believing something exists and following what you believe is two different things.
And submitting to, absolutely.
See, believing, I can believe in the IRS, but I don't have to submit to what the IRS says. So believing in God, that's not enough.
It's not.
Because the Bible says, believe that he is, and he is a reward of them that diligently seek him. So my pursuit is God, because I can't believe in something that I'm not pursuing. So that's a great question.
It really is. And also we have to remember as well, yes, there may be things like online classes, but someone is instructing.
Well, see, that's the thing about people like, I don't need church to grow in my relationship with God. You even need a teacher when you homeschool.
Correct.
How you gonna teach yourself when you're not a theologian? You're not even formally trained.
Correct.
So
there's
I taught myself how to drive. This is not driving. This is heaven or hell. You know what I mean? So that's something to
definitely consider. And the thing is, we have this information on the front. If we can get this information on the front end, you make choices for you, not them. Why give that consideration? I think we give it consideration because I'm just trying to talk myself into being here, going here, staying here. Why do that? If that is not fundamental for me, that you've got to believe in God, you need to be a part of God's community, his church, his covenant. If that's not how you walk in, I can't walk with you.
Yeah.
And so I think we just got to consider
then there's certain things that are just non-negotiables. For us, that's just a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
I just didn't want, of course, I wanted someone I was physically attracted to, but I wanted them to have their own relationship in God, because I've seen so many people in my family, men that are supposed to be priests of their homes, but they were pimps. Because they leaned on and survived off of their relationship. They didn't have their own relationship with God. And so I wanted a woman that had her own relationship, but I had my relationship with God. Great question. So since there's no question in here, I'll answer 2 that was online. Here we go. How do you know when the one has found you? I don't know. I think you don't have to answer that question anymore. And I'll do it this way. Since you say you've been found, he'll let you know. He'll let you know. A man that wants you, he gonna let you know. A man that want to marry you, he gonna let you know. You don't have to ask, so what are you thinking? What? No, he will let you know. We was in a restaurant eating last night. Dude proposed. When a man ready, he gonna let you know. You might have. He'll let you know if you were found or he's still digging.
I agreed.
No, that's just what I mean.
Agree.
No, man. Let's go. Let's pray us out.
Last one. What's wrong with choosing to be single if you want? Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely not. Listen, singleness is not a disease.
And marriage ain't the cure if it was.
No.
It's not the cure.
No. The only benefit to marriage or some kids is tax write-off.
Well, you can have sex. You can have sex and still make it to heaven. That's another
true.
benefit.
Yeah, you don't burn in hell.
That's like
for getting no
benefit.
bullet. You get communion. You know. But the truth about it is, everybody that's laughing when you get married, it ain't good. You don't even want it.
Right? It won't even work.
You don't even want them.
It won't work. Well, at least for women. I'm mad at you. It don't work.
Let's go. This version of the table is sponsored by BBD. I feel like somebody need to start singing Poison. Good God. What has gotten into you? I went out of town. You miss me?
You know, during the table, babe, I just be a little sleepy sometimes.
I know, but you look really cute. I need to talk to you about that. Let's pray. Father, thank you so much for tonight. Honestly, we really submit our relationships to you. God, you care about our single life. We're not trying to, that's the thing with the church. The church always trying to get people married, get married, get married, get married. You want us to be holy. So if we are fine being single, if we working on ourselves, if we preparing, if we're healing, if we just having fun, if we just doing us, let us do that until your glory. God, if we're dating or desire to date, let us do it until your glory. Let us work the things that we need to work to be in a position that is successful. If we're married, God, allow your grace to come upon us as we grow in compassion. And I just believe, Father, that you are using us to help shape couples, change identities, challenge mentalities, help people stretch further than anybody in their families ever stretched, help people that have been married for years enhance their quality. But most of all, God, that we can be examples to you. And I just cover my marriage tonight, my relationship, God, that you just continue to be the glue that holds us together, Holy Spirit, and allow our passion and trust and intimacy and success and favor to continue to expand. And most of all, God, we give you all praise, glory, and honor. In Jesus' name, amen. Hey, thank y'all for coming. I'll see y'all Sunday. I can't wait to preach. If you